Buddy, thank you for joining us. We're talking about the British exit, the Brexit, if you will, from the European Union last week. Before we get back into that, we want to acknowledge Istanbul has just been hit with an attack. I saw somebody throw something up just like 5 minutes ago. I don't really know what's going on over there.
Two suicide bombers apparently, and then some support personnel with weapons of some kind. Great.
Just that's fantastic news to share with everybody.
And that's the truth of the matter is that is in part what drove Brexit is, they're looking at the attacks that they've suffered. They're looking at the attacks Paris has suffered. There's Belgium, who was housing the Paris shooters at that nightclub. Mm-hmm. And right or wrong, and call it racism or not, the problem is you have to be able to vet the people that come into your area. And part of the problem with EU is if you're going through a poorer country like Greece or Italy or it's not Serbia, Hungary. If you're going through one of the poorer countries that don't dedicate enough, manpower and money to vetting people that as they come into the EU, it's really kind of tough to say, well, hold on, these people we're supposed to be able to trust these people. How come they're not keeping us safe?
Well, the fact of the matter,
it's an EU issue.
Well, to put things into perspective, I mean, the perpetrators of most recent attacks in France and in Belgium and a little bit in England have not been non-EU people. They're born and bred. They're born in those countries. They might have parents that immigrated there decades ago, sort of like the guy in Orlando. But
yes.
But they're already in the EU. They can already travel freely. So it's not a matter of an influx of current immigrants and refugees have been tied to most of these attacks, if not all of them. But I will say this: the thing about the Brexit that confounds me, other than the fact that I don't really know anything about it, and everybody that you see commenting on social media or on blog posts or whatever, all of a sudden are the greatest scholars of English history that I've ever met and seem to know everything about it. We don't know anything. As you and I, you've been to England more times than I can shake a stick at, and I would wager dollars to donuts that you don't know as much about the Brexit, the function of it in terms of internal UK politics as the folks that are dealing with it right now. I don't think that's a knock on you. I certainly don't know anything about it. But the way that it's been reported and the way that it seems to me, and especially the way that it's been reported in the American media, self-reflexively to compare back to our own election that's happening in November, it does seem that this is another instance of conservatives, largely conservative thinking people, getting riled up about something, because they're not just been out of shape about immigration. Well, that's the cast that it took in the recent days of the campaign, but they're fed up about public institutions not doing the things that they're supposed to do. They're fed up with low stagnant wages. Job situation is kind of bad. They're still rebuilding even slower than us from the financial crash 2007. They're mad about a lot of stuff. And what I've seen is that the United Kingdom has always been skeptical about the European Union. But conservatives riled up about all these legitimate things that they helped and contributed to cause with austerity measures and the like. So you see once again, because we see in this country. Let me finish my point. We see this in this country all the time. Conservatives shoot themselves in the foot, scream victim, then get mad, take their ball and go home and say we're not going to contribute to clean up our own mess that we help make because we're right and it's somebody else's fault.
First of all, the comparison. I agree with the comparison. There's a lot of people over there upset with business as usual. There's a lot of people over there. I stayed with 3 different families at the rugby union, ran into some old friends of mine when I was over there. All of them, whether or not they were conservative, liberal, moderate, middle of the road, wanted something different. It's the same here in the U.S. you can't just point to conservatives because you had Bernie Sanders riling up a whole bunch of people on the left for exactly the same reason. It just happens that the left got smoked in this last election over in England, in the UK, and
not entirely accurate.
Well, yeah, it was so bad.
Labor did.
They demanded everybody step down. And the part of the problem is this UKIP has taken much more of a narrowed approach. They don't. It's not like the Republican Party or the Democratic Party here, where they got at least 12, 15 planks. They got 5 or 6 planks, and they're focused, laser focused on it. Number two, at some point you have to say, now don't get me wrong, the markets are roiled, but part of the problem is over there, some things are making money and some things are not making money. Anytime you have a major shock to the system, there's going to be winners and losers. Everybody's talking about the markets across the world getting raped, which I shouldn't use that term. That's a gamer term. Sorry. But stocks getting hammered everywhere. I mean, 5, 8, 10% the very first day. That's what happens when there's any kind of uncertainty. That's what happens.
But it's self-inflicted. That's my point.
It is self-inflicted.
Once again,
people to themselves.
Once again,
people voted.
No,
people voted.
I know.
70%. These people were so passionate about this issue.
No,
they had more people vote this time around than they had in 25 years.
Conservative sanctimony leads to bad decisions and dumb choices. That's because you saw it.
This is not conservative sanctimony. This is people wanting to protect their homes and livelihoods.
I'm going to finish my point before we go to the break. You saw this with the attempted shutdowns by Ted Cruz and the Republicans in this country that cost us millions and billions of dollars. You saw it with this move that every single political and professional economist, whether right or left or center or whoever, said this is a bad idea economically, and the people got together and said, we don't care about this anymore. We know we're right. We don't care what the experts have to say. We're going to make up our own minds and do our own thing, and shot themselves in the foot. Now we're wondering why they're bleeding so badly. It's this conservative mindset of, I'm right. I can't be dissuaded that I'm wrong. I'm going to do what I think is best for me, no matter the fallout, and then blame everybody else and play the victim card when things go belly up. That's exactly what's happening now. It's exactly what's going to happen in 2 years.
Well, we're gonna let Lefty have the last word before the break, because the doc is going to come back with the first word after the break. We're going to discuss Brexit, how Democrats are morons, and what? Oh, jeez. We're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff after the break. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We couldn't do what we do without you. We'll be back to discuss more about the Brexit